Hey, in this video, I want to talk about something called qualified opportunity zones. This is a really big new development in real estate for investors and developers, and everybody needs to know about it because at least everybody in Indiana is affected by it. All over the country, you're affected by it. There's a link on the written portion of the Facebook page detailing where the opportunity zones are in Indiana. And there are nationwide maps. I didn't include that, but you can find it pretty readily. Basically, an opportunity zone was created as part of the Tax Job Act in December of 2017, and Congress and the IRS have been putting together regs for implementing this important piece of legislation. Basically, what it does is provide certain areas of the country, depending on lower income areas or adjacent to lower income areas, to try to attract investment capital coming into those areas. So if you go into those areas and put your trade or business, that's really important, trade or business, we'll talk about that in a minute, into those areas, you get massive tax benefits, and I mean massive. So you can actually eliminate your capital gains completely. Most tax strategies like a 1031 exchange or a charitable strategy have deferral aspects of it, but under the qualified opportunity zones, you can totally eliminate your capital gains forever. So you could go into a property with zero basis, hold it for a period of time, 10 years, and come out on the other end with a massive gain and pay zero taxes on it. It's unbelievable. So there's tons of money and tons of projects flocking to these qualified opportunity zones. But there were two little takeaways, obviously, in the presentation that I want to emphasize. First of all, the time limits you might be familiar with, and the second thing, dealing with triple net leased properties. And those were two things that you might just gloss over while you're reading the fine print, but they're very important to your overall investment strategy, and I want to talk about those for just a minute. First of all is the time frames. If you are aware of 1031 exchanges, you know that you have 45 days to identify three replacement properties, right? I get it on screen here somehow, right? Three possible replacement properties, that's the general rule. And then you close on them in 180 days. The opportunity zones do not have those time limits. So you've theoretically got a big benefit that you don't have to identify properties and close in certain time frames and all that. And that can definitely be a very strong motivator for a real estate deal because you don't always know how long the due diligence will take, or if you have to clear something up, take care of a problem, or even just identifying three good properties that fit your investment criteria in that time frame. So you get kind of stuck. But so that you don't have those in the opportunity zone. However, you've got a trap there, right? A big trap. So if you think, well, I might 1031 or I might go into an opportunity zone, really you still have to deal with the 45-day rule and the 180-day rule, because if you miss your 45-day window and you don't pick your three properties, now you're stuck and you must go into that opportunity zone, or you're going to have to face a big tax penalty. And you may not find a property in the opportunity zones. They're not everywhere. And they may not be where you want to be. They may not be the property you want. They may not be the values you want, the debt to equity that you want. So you can really be stuck in a big problem here. So on the one hand, you got a lot of flexibility because you don't have a time frame to worry about. On the other hand, you could really get your fingers caught in the door if you miss your 1031 deadlines and you're stuck being forced into an opportunity zone. So that's number one. The second thing I wanted to talk about was triple net leases. So at the beginning of this video, I said, hey, these opportunity zones are for trade or business opportunities, right? Trade or business. Well, triple net leased properties are unclear under the regs whether they're going to qualify as a trade or business. And the regs just came out this week, October 19th. So we've been waiting on all this guidance from the IRS and from the bureaucrats writing these regs to know what's going to qualify, how do we fit the rules together, how do we coordinate between 1031 exchanges, real estate investments in general, and the opportunity zones. Everybody thought, well, certainly we'll get guidance regarding triple net lease properties, but we don't have guidance on that specifically. And as you know, a triple net lease property, and if you don't know it, I'll help you out here, right? A triple net lease property is considered the highest quality of lease for the highest quality usually of real estate. So if you're moving up and trading into an opportunity zone for an investment, a lot of times it's because you're moving up and you want to get into a higher quality property, higher quality leases, right, as an investor, as a landlord. And now you're stuck with this uncertainty of whether or not a triple net lease property is going to be one that qualifies because it's too passive, right? So a triple net lease, let's back up for just 1 second and cover that. It has two parts of your rental income. So it's got a base rent value, and then maybe it's like 17 bucks a square foot or $22 a square foot for a retail space. Plus, you pay additional rent on top of that base rent. The additional rent are for net of taxes, net of insurance, or net of common area maintenance. So when you put those three nets together, that's called a triple net lease. And your tenant is paying a pro rata share of the taxes, insurance, and common area maintenance for your property. So as a landlord, you're getting your base rent plus the triple nets. You're getting more rent. You're covering it just as a pro rata. You're not marking it up, but you are getting extra rent just for those parts of the property management. Other rents are gross rents, and they just kind of incorporate that in there. But triple net leases are very specific, and you calculate it month by month or year end and calculate an estimate, and then the tenant pays into those triple nets periodically through the year so they don't get a big bill at the end of the year. And it's based on the true taxes, the true insurance, the true maintenance cost. And the maintenance could be everything from cutting the grass, plowing the snow. It could cover roof maintenance. It could cover HVAC maintenance, parking lot maintenance, certain kind of repairs that you might do to the building, anything. So it just really depends on your lease what's covered under the triple nets, and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Sometimes it's very well defined. Sometimes it's a little bit unclear. So you've got to really be careful with your leases. Anyway, as you can see, if you've got a triple net leased property, it's a more sophisticated scenario, and you've got a maybe a little bit more passive ownership, and that's the problem with the opportunity zone, because a triple net property under the regs is unclear whether it's too passive to qualify as a trade or business, right? So I think operating a big triple net property is a lot of responsibility, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of management. And I don't see why the powers that be don't consider a triple net property any differently than any other property, because it's a big investment. It takes a lot of work to manage it. So to me, that is a real trade or business. I think if you've got a big shopping center, you think you're operating a trade or business. But under the regs, it's not clear. So qualified opportunity zone, we still have some risk. The folks who put on this presentation I just went to, I've seen it twice. Katz, Sapper, and Miller, the CPA firm, they did a fantastic job. I'd recommend you contact them with your tax questions about it. And if you want to consult with us and do some of the compare and contrast with a 1031, we're happy to help you with that as well. And just maybe evaluate your investment portfolio and decide what way do you want to go moving forward. Are you in a liquidation mode? Are you acquiring? Do you want to go into an opportunity zone? Maybe you do have a business, a trade in business, and you want to go into a tax advantage scenario and want maybe a single user building for your business. That could be fantastic. Or you want to pair up with a real estate guy that has property, and you guys can marry up the business owner and the real estate part and put together something fantastic. So there's a lot of opportunities and tremendously powerful tax advantages you ought to look at. Again, take a look at the opportunity zones in Indiana based on the link that's on there. If you're not in the zone, you're out, right? So if you're across the street, literally, you don't qualify. If you're in the zone, you do qualify. And hint, lots of Indianapolis and Marion County is covered as an opportunity zone. Even like places like the Mass Ave corridor. like it's booming. But that doesn't mean that it's not an opportunity zone. A lot of the business district downtown Indianapolis is covered. So there is amazing opportunities for business owners and investors to go into this zone here in Indiana and in other parts of the state, of course. But I'm just using that as an example because it's close to home. There's tons of opportunity to literally, that's a pun. I know, I get it. There's tons of opportunity to go into these opportunity zones and create a big tax advantage, a big financial advantage. So give us a call. We'd love to help you, or just look into it further on your own. Contact Cat Sapper Miller, free advertising for those fine CPAs. They do great work, and they're really leading edge on this topic. Thank you. Have a good day.